Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a evening episode of Ted's Booze Cellar with me, your most gracious host, Ted. Welcome to the Premier Alcohol Review Show. It is currently 9:28 in the evening on the 6th of July 2023. Hope I'm finding you all in a good state of affairs, and if I'm not, then I hope things improve for you very, very soon. So, it's getting slightly hotter, but thankfully the upcoming football season is only about a month and a bit away, so got that to look forward to, and I've got to look forward to Charlton playing a fourth consecutive season of third-tier football for the first time since the 1920s, which is joyous. Just great. But anyway, we mean to go on as we should go on, and we've got another drink here from our friend and my colleague James. Now, James and his partner Mathilde, they were very kind to provide another great Franco-Belgian beer a few episodes ago that I reviewed. That was absolutely lovely. James went over to France recently, and he got me another Franco sort of like Trappist beer recently when he went over there. And this is another big old boy. This is a 10%er. This is a Paix Dieu triple. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't want to butcher it as much as I did the last few French drinks, otherwise our old friend Imogen, who's obviously been on a few episodes herself, will be decidedly upset. But let's see. It says here, I think it's Franco-Belgian actually. So yeah, it's from Belgium. So this is a Belgian beer. But it says here, this exception Belgian triple, 10%, is only brewed during the full moon. It is smooth and full of character, a craft beer in the tradition of Belgian abbey beers. So yeah, I'm looking on the website as well, and it basically says pretty much the same thing here. It says, this beer was once produced at the Abbey of Paix, where the lunar calendar played a central role. In order to preserve the soul of the abbey, the brewery imposes the rigour of brewing only during full moon periods. The result, a triple of 10%, creamy and full of character. A craft beer in the purest tradition of Belgian abbey beers. So, I'm liking the sound of that already. It's a cross between a craft beer and a Belgian Trappist triple. Lovely, love the sound of it, and also a little bit of abbey sort of beers in there, which I think is obviously the main sort of like through line of influence. So yeah, I've had a pretty good sort of track record, or like experience at least, with these kind of sort of Belgian beers, whether they're Belgian wheaty beers or Trappist beers or abbey beers or a combination of all three. They've generally been pretty good. I think the lowest sort of ranked Belgian beer on this show in the past was still like a 7 out of 10. Like, Belgian beers are pretty damn consistent. I think Belgium is probably my favourite country for beers. Closely followed by probably, I think probably in joint second place, probably England, Britain and France, and then probably in third place I'd say is Spain, I think. Either Spain or Mexico. Those two countries make some good lager. Yeah, I'm interested to see what this is like. I do really like the design of the bottle. Very clean, very simple, very traditional. Really, really like the contrast of gold and sort of dark coloured glass. And obviously the full moon there is like a really nice visual aperitif. Yeah, really lovely stuff. Give this a 10 out of 10. So again, once again, I have to say massive thanks to James, obviously, for providing this drink. It's exceptionally generous. I'm going to have to pay him back with a multitude of pints, or maybe even a guest episode on the show if he's brave enough, because I tend to be quite mean-spirited and sort of poking jabs at guests who appear on the show. Ooh, there we are. Right. Always love a good cork. Anyway, let's have a quick snifter to see what our first impressions are like. So it smells a little bit like the one that James and Mathilde got me the last time they provided a beer for the show. Although this does smell a little bit richer and a little bit creamier in nose, so yeah, it's kind of it does smell a bit like an abbey beer, but it also like has that sort of dark richness of like a Trappist one as well. So yeah, it's a good nose. It doesn't really sort of like cloy too much in the nostrils. It just sort of flows through. But it's quite a strong nose, so I'll probably give it a 9 out of 10. I imagine it can probably be a little bit overpowering for some people, but I really like the smell. So anyway, let's pour it out into the glass. Obviously, with it being a Belgian beer, we're pouring into a Harvey's beer glass, which is English. Although I've probably imagine I'd probably cause more cultural offence if I was pouring it into like either an Amstel glass, which is Dutch, or a Kronenbourg glass, which is obviously French. So, or a Paulaner München glass, which I actually do have, which is German. Anyway, let's see what this smells like in the glass. A little bit more, it's hard to smell through the head, which I haven't poured particularly well. But yeah, similar kind of nose. So again, like a 9 out of 10 in the glass. It smells really nice. It's got a good colour to it. It's a little bit cloudy even. Yeah. Yeah, it does look like a cross between an Abbey and Trappist beer. So yeah, I'm liking the look of this. This should be a very, very good addition to the show. But, as always, quick palate cleanser of water. And then on to the most important part of the video, which is to see what this sucker tastes like. So, to everyone at home, bottoms up. Woo! That is one full flavour. Woo-hoo! Man, that is flavoursome as hell. This is one of the most vibrant Belgian beers I've ever had. This is nuts. So it's got the underlying flavour of like a Trappist beer, but like not the sort of like harsh, like sort of richness that can sort of make it a bit overpowering for some people. It's it almost feels like it's got the undertones of like a Trappist beer, and then the sort of the texture and the flavour of like an Abbey beer with that simple sort of like haziness, but still like very crisp at the end, and with a generally very crisp texture throughout as well. And there's slightly sort of muddled flavour at the end with that sort of like a mixture of different wheats and hops. But it's insane. Like, it's got a really vibrant, fizzy, crisp texture, and then the flavour is like really sort of like smooth, almost a little auburn, but like really creamy towards the end, like they said on the bottle. It's such a unique flavour. I would say the texture does muddle the flavour up a little bit at the end, so it's not the easiest to sort of like swallow down. You do kind of have to swallow it a little bit slowly, so this isn't one you can really chug. Although then again, a lot of Belgian beers like this I think are too classy to be chugged down like that. But even still, yeah, if you sip it a bit slower, it definitely is easier to go down. The texture isn't quite as much of a hindrance to the flavour. So yeah, it's definitely a slow one. But yeah, I think when you drink it slowly, it definitely enhances the flavour and the texture as well. It's like when you drink it quickly, like it's sort of like a creamy, slightly vanilla-y sort of like aftertaste with that sort of like nice wheaty beer sort of through line. But then if you drink it a little bit more slowly and sort of take your time with it, then it sort of also reveals this sort of like slight underlying oakiness to it, like that really complements that vanilla creaminess. Like, I love this. Easily. Probably like one of the this is lovely stuff. Like I said, the texture does sort of like muddle up, and sort of like it's not the easiest drink to go down. Like, I'm not saying like every drink has to be one that you have to chug, but pardon me, I would like the texture to be a little bit smoother. That being said, this is still a strong 9 out of 10. This is an excellent beer, and I can only hope that if I ever do get James and or Matilda on the show, that I can provide them with something just as good to sort of review, because so far we've reviewed I think a 10 and a 9, or like 2 9s I think it is now, so from them two. So yeah, I'm blown away. This is a lovely beer, easily a 9 out of 10, and if the texture was a little bit smoother, it'd be a 10 out of 10. But even still, What a beer. This is lovely stuff. I would thoroughly recommend this. This is great. Really, really good stuff, honestly. The perfect blend of traditional Belgian Abbey beers and modern craft beers. Beautiful. Honestly, really, really good stuff. Probably not a meal beer, but I would say it's a great relaxation beer after a hard day's work. So definitely give it a shot and see what you guys think. But as always, if you guys liked this video, leave a like, share and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future episodes of Ted's Booze Cellar, let me know in the comments section down below. And if you want to check out my other social medias, I'll leave those in the video description down below. But until next time, have fun, stay safe for whatever you're doing, don't do anything I wouldn't do, wash your hands, drink responsibly, know your limits. And once again to James, thank you very much for the drink. And until next time, I'll see you guys at the bar on Ted's Booze Cellar. Have a good weekend.